Not Worth the Time with Wade Taylor. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Not Worth the Time. We're here. We're doing it. It's been another fantastic 2 weeks, and I hope you're having a good week so far. I hope this Monday's kicking off well for you. We're just hoping you enjoyed the short weekend after a long weekend. It's always brutal, isn't it? You have a nice long 3-day weekend, then you get back to this 2-day one. You're like, what the fuck is this shit? Doesn't even feel like two. A weekend never feels like 2 full days. Saturday's the only true day you get some real freedom. Go out and do what you want day. And then you got Sunday rolls around and you're just prepping for the next week, bud. You're getting ready for battle. Unless you're just one of those winging it people flying by the seat of your pants like, yeah, fuck it. We'll see what happens this week. We're just going to go into this week raw dogging it. No plan, just straight raw dogging this entire week with zero strategy on how I'm going to conquer it. I salute you people. I salute you people who just go into the week raw dogging it. No plan, no agenda. You're just caking it as it goes, flowing, going with the flow. No inkling of a plan. You know why? Because everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face and start bleeding out your nostrils. Boy, howdy, did I have a good nosebleed this week. Woo! If you've been a long-time listener of this show, you all know that for some reason I have chronic nosebleeds. And no, I will not be using Dr. Google to figure out why. I've talked to a doctor, tried to get it figured out. Want to get my nose cauterized. Yes, that's a thing. You can just cauterize the inside of your nostril. Apparently, the walls of my nostrils are too thin to make that a point to do, so I don't fucking goddamn get nosebleeds for no reason. Just a quick sniffle. I've had a lot of them. Today might have been one of the worst ones, just location-wise. Went to my niece's confirmation. She was graduating into the church. That's what I call confirmation, is God graduation. You're now eligible for College of God. But went to that. It was nice. She got to do a reading. It did really well. Never stumbled over anything. She did fantastic. Now she's officially part of the church and has been blessed. That's pretty cool. It's good stuff. She was excited about it. It was a big deal to her, and so it was good to go and be there. Here's the issue, right? They started doing communion. And for the non-Christian people, that's when you go up and do the snack time. That's when you eat the body and drink the blood of Christ. Yes, for all you non-Christians, that's what we do. That's what you end up doing in order to get the ticker restarted on your sin count. Okay, you go up there and eat the body of the Lord and drink the blood of the Lord. And then all of a sudden it's like, hey, all that shitty stuff you did last week, forget about it. It's all on the up and up now. You have repented. I think that's how it works. I have no idea if that's how you're resolved of your sins. We were also in a Catholic thing, so I think they do confession. So I think you have to actually go out and say the specific sins. I don't think you get a reset button after you eat some bread and some wine. That's the way I always took it. It was like, bread and wine, it's all fine. That's what the J-Man said. Bread and wine, your sins are all fine. The J-Man always hooked up the bread and wine to make sure that the apostles were like, nope, you guys are resolved to your sin. Oh, you slept with a hooker out in town? Eat some bread and wine. Resolved. That's probably not. And see, this is why I probably got a nosebleed in the middle of that whole ceremony. Everybody was getting up, and I didn't go up because I'm not Catholic, so I'm not apparently allowed to go up and get communion, which is fine. That's cool. I'm going to go do my Lutheran communion. I'll do that in a couple weeks and get resolved, and we'll be good, okay? I'll get mine. I'm going to get mine. I'll just do it in another place under a different umbrella of Christianity, apparently. But I was just sitting there waiting for everybody to go, and I just did a quick, I don't know if you heard that as the audio listener, just a quick, just a quick sniffle. And all of a sudden, I felt it just start running down my nose. I was like, oh, no. And I'm up front. I'm in the first, 4 pews, okay? I have front row seats to this confirmation, okay? Not to brag, but I knew one of the star players, okay? We had prime time seats for this event, okay? So it wasn't just a sneak out the back room. I'm in the nosebleed sections, the back pews, where the heathens sneak in when they're hungover, when they sneak in 20 minutes into service, fuck, I'm still here, though, it counts. Jesus, it counts. I made it. I'm here. I heard the sermon. I just missed the opening hymn. You going to really dock me from the opening hymn? You going to dock me heaven points because I missed the opening hymn? You're goddamn right. I mean, you're Lord right. So my nose starts bleeding, and of course I panic. I'm in a full-fledged panic, and I'm doing the cup. I'm making the same hand cup that you put out to receive the body of Christ. Meanwhile, I'm bleeding my own wine out my face. I have wine just pouring out of my face right now. And I run down the main little aisle where everybody's at. Luckily, I don't think anybody noticed that I got up because everybody else is already standing up to get in the line for communion, right? So there's a bunch of people. But there wasn't that many people in this tiny church, and I'm just cupping my hand, trying not to bleed on the Lord's rug. You don't want to bleed in the house of God, okay? I just feel like it's a bad look. Thank God they had red carpet, so if I did happen to spill a little bit of wine, it wasn't going to show up. Oh, man, I ran downstairs, and I found where the bathroom was. I asked these ladies who were setting up the breakfast for afterwards, and I'm like, is there a bathroom in there? And like, yeah, what's the problem? I'm like, I'm bleeding. And they're like, oh, my God. And they were super helpful, super nice, pointed me to the bathroom. I got it to stop. But, man, just what an embarrassing thing. Because I thought the worst place I'd ever gotten a bloody nose was in Las Vegas in the middle of the casino. Because then I ran across a casino, alerting several staff members, and then ran into the bathroom, where then I happened to run into the one bathroom that the janitor of the place was cleaning. And then he proceeded to be like, are you okay, man? And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm fine. I'm trying to get to stop, and it's bleeding profusely because I've been drinking, and then it doesn't clot. And he's like, oh, you don't look so good, man. And then proceeded to get security who came in and quizzed me thinking I was assaulted on property. That was one of the worst experiences of a bloody nose ever. I think this church one tops it because if you're you come into a church as a non-member, right? I've never been inside this church, never attended a mass. I'm not Catholic. I'm just not checking any boxes for any reason to be here other than the fact I'm supporting a loved one, right? So I come in and all of a sudden they're doing communion, getting blessed by the Lord, eating the blood of Christ, and eating the body of Christ, drinking the blood of Christ, and then all of a sudden I just get a nosebleed in the middle of that. They all think I have sinned super hard now. There's strangers and people that probably think I'm the devil. Okay? They started speaking the word of the Lord, and I started fucking bleeding out of my face. I don't like that, okay? I don't want people thinking that I'm a bad person, okay? That's some social embarrassment, okay? I hate that. There's nothing. Luckily, everybody was just concerned. Nobody talked about it. But church folk. Church folk. They were really kind to me to my face and said, oh, we're just glad you're okay. Everything's fine. They're gossiping. That's the hottest gossip right now going around the church is that some heathen who isn't baptized in the Catholic faith bled during the ceremony. That is just going around town right now. I am the heathen that everybody's talking about right now. I might as well have been Damien from The Omen. I started bleeding as soon as I walked into God's house. And they started saying their words and prayers, and I bled because the evil couldn't withstand it. And I'm afraid that somebody actually thinks that. There's probably somebody who thinks that. And I think I'm an all right dude. I think I'm fine, But part of me, here's the part of me, dude. I grew up in church, right? I went to Lutheran, in a Lutheran church. If you don't know what a Lutheran church is, it's basically Catholic light. So I have the Catholic guilt, just like the Bud Light version of it. Like Catholicism at its purest form is Bud Heavy. I was raised off of shame of Bud Light style shame with Lutheranism, okay? That nice Catholic light. And yeah. So part of me, when when shit like that happens, getting a nosebleed in the middle of church or whatever, makes me go, oh man, God is pissed at me. that thought creeps in my head. And he's probably, and like I'm sitting in there plugging my nose up going, looking up at the side. Like, I get it. I was being a little judgmental during the ceremony. I probably was. I was probably being a little judgmental because this isn't like the Lutheran church. And I was like, my church does it way better. And then you were like, hey, these are all God's children. You respect them all. And I'm like, you're right, God. I'm sorry. And I fucked up. This is the conversation I was having with myself in the bathroom because that shit creeps in my head. It also could be for some other stuff. I was having impure thoughts this week, okay? I went to Target, bought an item, right? Left, got home, started unpacking all the groceries, realizes I left an entire bag of shit at Target. So I hop in the car, drive all the way back, and I go to the cashier. Luckily, she was still working. I was like, hey, I forgot these 3 things. She knew right away. He's like, oh, yeah, you left that bag here. I'm sorry, they already put it all away. But if you go talk to customer service and just let them know, they'll let you just go grab all the stuff and then you'll be able to take care of it. And I'm like, perfect. So that's what I did. Went and talked to a young man. He's like, oh yeah, just go grab all the stuff off the floor and bring it back here and we'll like check you out to make sure you're good. I'm like, cool. So I do that, come back over, and it's a different lady than the guy I originally talked to. I was like, I talked to this guy. She's like, oh, you got here, no problem. And didn't even ask me about the items, whatever. Just flapped open a sack, put all the 3 things I got, and out the door went. Now, that doesn't sound like an impure thought, but what came after was, because I was just sitting there going, man, I could get so much free shit from Target if I just did this every month. Like, just once a month. Like, I walked outside, and out in front of Target, it was just littered with receipts from that day. Just people walking out, throwing the receipt on the ground. You could so easily pick up a receipt, look at it, see if there's anything good on it, and just go in and grab those things and be like, grab 1 or 2 things, be like, hey, I'm sorry, I was in here earlier, and I just, whatever reason, when I was checking out, I left them at the cashier. Can I just go pick them up? And maybe somebody will tell you no, and you're just like, oh, whatever, okay, fine. Or they're just like, yeah, just go grab it and you can leave. You could do that. Now, that's an impure thought because that's stealing, but I thought about it. And I don't, that's the first thing I thought is like, oh man, you could totally do this. My second thought then was like, that's wrong and you shouldn't do that because it gets other people in trouble. I don't care about the corporation, by the way. A lot of people take that as like, oh wait, you care about Target's the bottom line. No, I don't. I care about the people who work at Target, the cashiers and the bag boys and stuff, because that's who gets in trouble and gets fired over that. And I don't want some, like, there's a lot of people who like work at Target full time, and then there's all these like high school kids who this is their first job. I don't want them to get fired from their first job, So I don't want to take advantage of people's kindness when I come back and like, hey, I forgot this and I screwed up. And especially when she was like, yeah, I'm sorry, I kind of forgot to put that over here in the better area for you to grab it. Like, she was totally nice. I don't want to take advantage of those people's kindness. It's a shitty thing to do. But it's the first thought I had is, wow, you could totally exploit this if you really wanted to. And you know what? That's why God gave me a nosebleed in those pews, because he was like, no, you've been thinking some fucking shitty things lately. Maybe you mind your P's and Q's and also stop giggling at some of the artwork we have hung in this Catholic church. That's probably the main one. That the stealing thing, he's like, I have a law against that. You know that way. I have a commandment. You can't steal. You know this, and I know that. I've been chastised enough even when I was very little. I haven't stolen since I took that fucking Tootsie Roll when I was like 4 years old out of that supermarket. Man, my mom making me talk about social embarrassment. That's what the social embarrassment's the name of this episode. That was one of the biggest social embarrassments I've ever had, and this is probably one reason why I try not to fuck up in public so much. But I remember just I was like, asked my mom, wanted the Tootsie Roll. She's like, you can't have the Tootsie Roll. And then she turned her back and was like, and then I was like looking around, and I remember having the thought like, what's stopping me from just taking this? So I just took it and put it in my pocket and walked outside. And then we got outside, and where I fucked up is my brain, because you just want the instant gratification. That's one reason why you buy candy and shit. You just want instant gratification. I was just getting ready I pulled it out of my pocket as we were getting into the car. My mom goes, where'd you get that Tootsie Roll? And I was like, I got it from inside. And my mom made me march back in to the cashier and tell him I took this thing, and she was like, oh, and like my mom made me say I was sorry, put it back, and come. Just talk about social embarrassment, dude. And I'm sure my mom was kind of mortified. Like, no one wants to take their son back in and be like, hey, my shithead kid took something they weren't supposed to, you know? I'm sure she was mortified. And then, like, I remember seeing all the other people in line. Like, I had to stop other people from checking out because I had to tell this cashier lady that I was a bad boy. I was a bad boy. So, yeah, it just sucks. But we got getting punished for that kind of stuff, you know? Just led to social embarrassment. The thing that like I was giggling during church about that probably really set this off was, and I shouldn't be talking about it again, I'm going to get a nosebleed on this podcast, but it was too funny to not say, I guess. But they had this photo off to the left of where I was sitting. That was just a nice photo of Jesus, you know, doing the little like two-finger thing he likes to do, and he's got like the heart with he's got a heart in the center with the thorns around it, got some light shooting off of him. Classic, a real classic Jesus portrait, right? You know the one. Picturing it, you got it. On this, it had words actually at the bottom of it, which I'd never seen a portrait like that, where it just had like basically a meme on the bottom. But it said, Jesus, comma, I trust you. And for some reason, my brain, because I'm dumb and immature, read it like, Jesus, I trust you. Like it was somebody getting lectured to. Like Jesus is just talking to them, like, Jesus, we trust you. Ah. And I think that's the one that actually ended up getting me there. That is probably what caused the nosebleed right there. You know. And then I didn't stop afterwards. So, I don't know. But nosebleed in church, not a good look. Makes you look like real guilty of sin. Do not recommend bleeding in church. Never a good look, guys. So just heads up on that one. So I think that now has overtaken, like I said, the slot of the most embarrassing nosebleed I've ever had. It was the Vegas one, but nah, the church is by far the worst now. But you know, a lot of people are doing a lot of things to completely negate their embarrassing moments, you know? They're really working hard on trying to do it. I think everybody always tries to not be embarrassed. Nobody wants to be embarrassed, right? But you're seeing this happen even more now based off of people's lifestyle habits, what they're doing. They're eliminating things that tend to cause horrific social interactions, bad social interactions, and might be the source of most embarrassing moments in your life, and that's alcohol. And that's where it brings me to the article we found this week from the Morning Brew, which if you don't subscribe to the Morning Brew, it's like a newsletter that comes out every month. Fucking fantastic. Really love it. But they put out a little snippet article called Non-Alcoholic set to be number 2 beer category. Mainstream culture is increasingly embracing a buzz-free beer. Now, it's very much like I have buddies now who we're avid drinkers. I have one guy who works in the beer industry, like that's his whole thing, and even he's cut back on beer a lot. Like he's been told me he's drinking some NAs. Also, like he's doing it to like get shredded. He's trying to six-pack ab for the beach. And you know what? Respect. Shout out Brett getting that six-pack for the beach. And a lot of people are that I've gotten on this kick because I like to go to open mics, and the problem is I can't suck down 3 or 4 beers and then drive home. Also, I don't perform as well like after I drink a beer or two, right? Like I just don't. I'm not as sharp. I kind of get tongue-tied and shit. So having non-alcoholics when I go to bars like that have been great because I just end up having a couple NAs, so I'm still supporting the business, still having a nice little drink while I'm on stage. It's a win-win for everybody, right? So let's read on here and figure out what's going on and why this might be increasing more. Celebratory zero-proof beer bongs on Tom Holland non-alcoholic beer is poised to become the second largest beer category by volume worldwide this year, chugging past ales but still miles behind lagers, the market research firm IWSR said this week. Damn, that makes sense though, because I don't know too many people who are still drinking like a lot of the craft ales. Like I don't see the pale ale craze anymore. That's died off a lot. So like it makes sense that it's past like the different types of like the sour ales, the pale ales, the IPAs. It's doesn't surprise me in the slightest that is and I don't think you'll ever overtake lagers. Like you can't dethrone a light lager beer. Like it'll just be around forever. You will never get rid of Bud Light or Coors Light. They will be at the top of the heap until the end of time. You try to take them down and they come ripping back. You tried to get a new demographic, then the old demographic left, and then they came roaring back with vengeance. They won't ever leave, so you can't get topple that. And it's I don't think you're ever going to get there with a non-alcoholic beer to do that. But let's find out. Mainstream culture increasingly embracing a buzz-free, according to the IWSR. The quality of NA beers being sold, quantity. Sorry, the quantity of NA beers being sold worldwide grew by 9% last year, while overall beer market volume shrank by 1%. NA beer category is projected to continue growing on an annual rate of 8% through 2029, as ales is expected to decline by 2% annually during the same period. Yeah, that makes sense. I've seen more and more people make. There's so many NA choices out there. It's honestly overwhelming how many people are doing that, and it's funny to see because I feel like there's just been a big push lately about alcoholism and also just talking about the side effects of alcohol. People are just having way more of an open conversation about it, I think, in the last few years. I think we've all known it's bad. I feel like everybody knows because you wake up the next morning and you're like, why do I feel like I was poisoned last night? But you keep doing it anyway, you know? Hair of the dog to bit you. Just throw back another couple Coors Lights right away in the morning. You're going to feel fine. You just delay it. Just keep pushing it off. I honestly think that's why withdrawals from alcohol is so bad. Because you just keep pushing it off, that hangover. And it's not really that you're having withdrawals. You just have a bitchin' hangover for like 3 days. And it feels like a withdrawals, but it's really just a hangover. The withdrawals, the ultimate hangover. But there's this, I think because so many people have now quit drinking, but a lot of people have that same problem. They want to go out with their friends, but they don't want to make them feel awkward because they'll just have a cup of water in front of them and stuff. There's like a social thing that like bothers people when you're not having a beer with them. if you don't have like a drink of some kind or whatever, even if you just get a pop in a glass and try to tell them to put them in like a cocktail glass, people still can tell, and it like people act weird around it. It's like, I think it's because they know as you drink alcohol, right? Your inhibitions get lowered, your guard goes down, you're kind of being a little more truth serum-y, you're just being a little more open, right? You're loosening up, you're being more yourself because you're letting your inhibitions, fall to the wayside. I hope I used that word right. And when you're with somebody who's not doing that, it instantly like negates that. You get in that, now you get defensive. So now you're saying the normal shit you do, but then you're defensive about it because this person's sober mindset and is judging you with a different capacity. So, and it just kind of ruins things. Where if you go out with some buddies and you get an NA beer and if you order, especially they're naming them better now, like Budweiser's NA is just Bud Zero. When you say, I want a Bud Zero, it sounds like you want one of those like Michelob Ultra beers where it's got just like no carbs in it, right? Like super low calorie, like a diet beer. But in all reality, it's actually an NA beer. So the name of it's perfect. Yeah, I'll take a Bud Zero. Nobody then hassles you about not drinking. Nobody, unless you know that's what it is. So it's perfect in that aspect. And then you can just hang out with your friends and it doesn't feel weird or whatever. You just have a beer bottle in your hand and you're doing well. That's why a lot of people loved Liquid Death when it first came out. You wanted a water, but you wanted to feel like you were holding a tall boy at a concert. Perfect. And like before everybody knew what Liquid Death water was, it just looked like you had some other random beer in your hand. Perfect. It just puts other people at ease. It puts you at ease too. You don't feel like you look like you're out of place or like feel like a black sheep. Honestly, you feel like an undercover cop. I'm gonna bust some kids for drinking while I have a non-alcoholic water. All right. Though it's soon to be number 2, NAs only represent 2% of the global beer market. Lagers command somewhere between 76 and 92%, according to most estimates. In the U.S., sales of zero-proof alcohol surged 26% last year, leading up to the Super Bowl, largely due to the growing popularity of NA beers, and was mostly before the outgoing Surgeon General calling for cancer warnings on alcohol in January. Holy shit, I didn't know that was a thing. So the Surgeon General said that they want to put cancer warnings on alcohol. It makes so much sense, though. I know, and I'm sure everybody else knows that, like, oh, of course, probably alcohol causes cancer. I guess I didn't realize it was so bad that we need to have a warning on it like we do cigarettes. That's pretty crazy. Major beer brands have been embracing the trend, but among beer enjoyers who seek to improve health and wellness, many Gen Z and millennials, industry veterans aren't leading. They are jockeying for second place. The top-selling NA beer brand is Athletic Brewing, which it was founded in 2018 and holds 20% of the shares of Uncle Sam's NA beer market. Celebrities including Tom Holland, Dwayne Wade, and Dak Shepard are also trying to tap in with their own brands. Yeah, I have seen the Tom Holland non-alcoholic beer like at Target. Surprise, surprise. That was one of the things I was going to go in and find a receipt for and try to take home. See, that's what I should use that scan for. It's to sample beers I would never buy. But yeah, people see a money market for it. Like Gen Z people and millennials are definitely not drinking the same way. I know I'm a millennial and I don't drink the same way. I've really tried to clean up my act. Yeah, but I think a lot of those kids are abusing marijuana, possibly. It turns out readily available gummies across the state border in Missouri have wreaked havoc on the state of Iowa. So I've been told. I don't know. I don't know if kids are doing that kind of stuff. I don't know. But either way, it does make total sense, though, that like that's taken off. Which is funny because I know sometimes I always think I'm a little ahead of the curve, or oh man, I'm doing something that like I don't know a lot of people aren't doing. Because I'd started drinking NAs because one of my buddies kind of stopped drinking. And so he kind of introduced me to them, and I was like, oh, these are pretty good. And because he wasn't drinking, I just didn't feel the need to drink. I was just hang out with him, and if he had one of those, I'd just have one with him and stuff. It worked out great, and now I have a different system where a lot of times I go out and I have a NA beer while I'm out at places. It works out great, and I thought, it was kind of like, I don't know too many people doing it. Apparently enough people are doing it that it's taking the number 2 spot in a beer category. So that's pretty cool. Yes, I got to try some other NA beers, but I should. But I'm not gonna. I'm gonna keep drinking Bud Zeros. I was on a NA kick for a while when I did a contest with somebody years ago. My good friend Sam Hershock. We did December to Remember was the contest, and we didn't drink for a whole month. We completely sober, no tobacco, no booze, like completely stone cold sober. But what I did is the month prior in November, I started not drinking right then. So then the actual contest for me was like, oh, this is nothing because I'd already done it for a full month. I was already used to it. But like I would go over to people's houses for like events and stuff, and then Coors makes their own NA beer. And so that's what I was bringing over, hoping that it was like people wouldn't notice or whatever, and like I could just drink or whatever. Problem was like the packaging was too obvious at that point, so like I still got shit for it. So that was the problem. But I'd been trying NAs like when I didn't drink for a long time. It's great. They're good. If you want to just sit out on the porch and like enjoy a beer, but you don't want alcohol, fantastic. But cool for everybody. I'm glad that people are, maybe being a little more sober, being a little more responsible. You know what? And not drinking, staying out of those social embarrassments, okay? Those socially embarrassing situations are caused by alcohol all the time. And now you're avoiding them. Good for all of us. You know what else is good for you guys? Go in and check out puntinggame.com. That's right, everybody. Puntinggame.com is where you can find this show, Not Worth the Time. Every 2 weeks, every other Monday, you can find this show there. You can also find my other show, Who Gives a F, with my older brother Nathan, which we do weekly. If you want to hear this soothing voice weekly, you want to head over there and subscribe to Who Gives a F. You'll love that show. And while you're over there, you want to check out the Punting Game shop, where you can find t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, stickers, all sorts of cool stuff to represent your favorite shows here at puntinggame.com. And don't forget to use promo code NWTPOD. That's NWT Pod, and they get you free shipping at checkout, guys. And if you want to watch this show, go to YouTube. Comic Wade Taylor on YouTube, guys. If you search that, subscribe, like. You can find video versions of the podcast, both of them, Who Gives a F, Not Worth the Time. You can find stand-up clips. You can find all the sketches I post with my buddies, all of that and more. If you want to check out the article I read today, link is in the description down below, along with links to socials and YouTube. Go check all that out. Thank you to all the new subscribers who have just joined recently. Really appreciate you checking out the stuff. So can't thank you guys enough. It's fun to do the show, and I'm glad you all enjoy it. Guys, this has been Not Worth the Time. I'm Wade Taylor. Hope you have a fantastic rest of your week. And remember, don't do anything I wouldn't do.